much we can contribute to the empowerment of our community for a hopeful future. And without further ado, please welcome Tita Cynthia Bonta.
The late afternoon sun slanted through the tall glass windows of the Hynde Auditorium, casting warm amber light on the rows of folding chairs. The faint hum of the projector mingled with the low murmur of students settling in. A banner stretched across the stage, Filipino American History Month film series. Joey Roldan Lanta Puno, 29 years old, stood at the podium, adjusting his glasses and flipping through his notes. A history teacher at Sacramento State, Joey wasn't just teaching history, he was living it, breathing it, carrying the memory of those who came before him. He took a deep breath and looked out at the small but eager crowd. "Good afternoon, everyone," he began, his voice calm but firm. "Thank you for joining us for today's feature, Delano Manongs, Forgotten Heroes of the United Farm Workers Movement." This documentary highlights the incredible work of Larry Itliong and the Filipino farm workers whose courage shaped labor rights in America. A quiet ripple of anticipation filled the room. Joey could see students from different backgrounds, Filipino, Mexican, white, black, some with notebooks, others with curious expressions. This was what he loved most, bridging cultures, making forgotten stories come alive again. As the lights dimmed and the film began, Joey leaned back in his chair, his heart heavy with pride and melancholy. On the screen, black and white images of Delano flashed. Fields of grapes stretching under the hot Central Valley sun. Brown-skinned men with calloused hands and determined eyes marching in unity. Larry Itliong's raspy voice filled the room, his cigar clutched between two fingers as he spoke about justice and dignity. Joey remembered the first time he had heard about Itliong. He was 16, sitting in his grandmother's living room in Delano, where she told stories of the Manongs, the elder Filipino farm workers who lived in cramped labor camps and sent money back home to the Philippines. She would whisper, "They were brave, Joey. They fought so you could stand tall in America." Now, standing in a university auditorium, Joey realized he was fulfilling that legacy. When the film ended, the audience sat in silence for a few moments before the lights slowly came back on. Joey stepped forward, feeling that familiar fire rise in his chest. "I grew up in Delano," he said, his voice catching slightly. "My grandfather picked grapes. He used to tell me about walking off the fields in 1965, following Larry Itliong, not knowing if they'd have jobs tomorrow. But they did it anyway, because they believed in fairness." He paused, scanning the crowd. What we saw today wasn't just history. It's our story. Filipino and Chicano workers came together despite differences in language, culture, and color. They showed that unity is stronger than fear. A student raised her hand. "Why do you think we don't hear much about Itliong compared to Cesar Chavez?" Joey nodded thoughtfully. "That's the question, isn't it? History often remembers those with the louder microphones. But part of our job, your job, is to bring balance to that story. To make sure Larry Itliong, Philip Vera Cruz, and all the Manongs aren't just footnotes." He could feel the pride swelling in him, the same pride his grandmother must have felt decades ago, watching the strikers march through Delano. After the Q&A, a few students stayed behind to thank him. One, a young Filipino freshman named Carlo, said softly, "I didn't even know Filipinos were part of that movement. My parents never mentioned it." Joey smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Now you do. And now it's your turn to tell someone else." As the auditorium emptied and the projector wound down, Joey stood alone for a moment, gazing at the fading image of Larry Itliong on the screen. The man's eyes seemed to look right at him, steady, proud, unyielding. Outside, the autumn breeze rustled the trees, carrying the scent of damp earth and fallen leaves. Joey gathered his papers and walked out of the Hynde Auditorium, his heart full. He wasn't just honoring history anymore, he was part of it. Somewhere in Delano, beneath the old grapevines, the spirits of the Manongs would be proud. Word count, 7.